All right, hey everybody, my name is Kristine Mirelle. I'm going to be chatting with Troy. I barely started working with Troy like a few weeks ago, and we've had some amazing results. Hey Troy, how's it going?
What's happening, guys?
And if you guys have been following along, I help musicians and singers book gigs, turn what they love into making a living, quitting their day job and using their talents to make money. So Troy, I'm excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. This is
Tell everybody a
awesome.
little bit about yourself. Like, tell them what's your talent. What were your dreams? I mean, when you reached out to me, what was your hope?
Well, the biggest thing that I was so excited about when I was reaching out to you was just this concept of being able to turn music, which I've been fortunate and blessed enough to be somewhat of a side income, but never my entire income, in transforming that into this is my living now. And that has been the most exciting thing about this whole process. And even in the few short weeks that we've been working together on all this now, we've made leaps and bounds. And it's looking like here in the next month, or maybe even less, we could be sitting at a very decent rate and in a very good living financial situation.
Well,
And it's the most exciting thing. I've been giddy through the roof about it all.
and that's the thing is I tell people, I'm like, how quickly you can create a career doing this. Cause so many people, you're an artist, I'm an artist, building a fan base can take years, for us to start selling our music. But when it comes to performing, you can be performing like next week. And some people are like, no, that's not true. And then like, how quickly did you see that that actually is true? I mean, I think when did we book your first gig? Was it like 8 days or 9 days into it or something?
Yeah, it was actually the night of the seventh day. So if you want to call it 7 days,
Seven.
I got access to the lesson plan that Saturday. Gosh, maybe a week and a half ago now, and then that like Friday night was when I got a call back and I had booked the first show. And it wasn't even like a small show. The first show that I got booked through your program was a $300 show at a rooftop bar in Irvine, which is just the coolest thing on earth.
Well, and that's the thing too, is it's not just like the money, it's also like the cool experiences. Like sometimes you're overlooking beautiful places or, other
Yes.
things.
Gosh, tacked on top of the fact that, of course, the whole reason we're doing this is to build our finances. But on top of that, to be able to be in this cool situation where now I get to go and say to people like, oh yeah, I'm going to be down at the Irvine Spectrum Marriott every Saturday. I'll be at the Edison in downtown every Friday. Like it's almost a conscious. I just feel like a grown up now. I don't know how to describe it. It's so funny. I kind of got my life together. I'm doing what I want. And Kristine, it's all thanks to you. And this is the most exciting thing.
Oh, that's so awesome. That's really, really great. I'm so glad that you're getting these results. And the Edison, I mean, you're there every Friday. And that's another thing is, the I think what the most amazing thing about performing is all you need is a few venues to say yes. If you get 4 venues that bring you back every week, you're making a living now. I mean, you got your first residency now. It hasn't even been 2 weeks.
Just the brilliance of what you've put together with your system is that it comes down to self-sustainability. It's almost like teach a man to fish or give him a fish kind of concept. And you're really pushing this teach a man to fish. So it really comes down to how fast you individually can move and getting everything done. And if you follow your instructions to the T, it is flawless. And it worked. It worked. That was brilliant.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Well, and that's the other thing too, because the funny thing is so many people go to college too, and they spend like 4 years and then they come to me and they're like, I still don't know how to book a gig. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you spent so much on tuition. And then you
Yeah.
have someone like you come around and in 7 days, what I
I
mean?
know.
I'm like, I 4 years in college and they're still like, how do I make money? And someone like, you're like,
Well, I think the one thing that I really love about what you're doing is it's coming from the the hardship and the truth of what you had to learn, and you got to condense all these years of everything that you had to find out through the school of hard knocks into a well organized plan as to how to get yourself up and running. And we were able to get it up and running in a week. 1 week, we got it up and running. So thank you for all your years that you had to go through heartache, trials, and tribulations. I've been through my own trials as well too. But to be able to be jump started so quickly like what you provided with me is just really fantastic.
Which, by the way, is a good point, because I always tell everybody, if our life was perfect, it'd be really easy to achieve all of our own dreams, right? We all go through relationship issues, financial issues. I have pictures of me sleeping in my car, like, stuff like that, where it makes it difficult. Would you mind sharing? I mean, you shared some of the stuff, that you were going through. Is that okay if you share people what you're going through as you're like building this?
I keep saying that you've been my little guardian angel through this whole thing. About 3 months ago, me and my ex-girlfriend broke up. It was a really ugly breakup. About a month after that, we couldn't do the splitting the dog situation, so she took the dog. And so then I didn't have my girl, didn't have my dog. And then about 2 weeks after that, I got laid off. I had gotten promoted to manager. It was a middle management position at a bar I was working at, and they cut down hours, and I was the first casualty. So I was sitting there with nothing, and I was looking online for just any job that I could find to try and start putting some money back in my pocket. And that's when I ran along your course with everything that we've done, and it's only going to build from here as the rate it's growing. It looks like in about a month or so I'll be really back in good shape again. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is like, yeah, there's so many hard things you go through, from, like you said, sleeping in your car, sleeping in some stranger's house where you wake up to them staring at you in the middle of the night and like just horrible weird situations. But then to have some sort of beautiful thing like this happen on the back end, it's all hills and valleys, right? And you got to remember that, especially when you're in the valleys.
You made a good point earlier about sustainability, and that's what I talk to everybody about. So a lot of people come to me and they're like, hey, can you book me gigs? Sure, I could, but I'm not empowering anybody by doing that. And what I get excited about is showing people how to book their own gigs. And that's what you're learning as you're going through this process is once you're finished working, going through my whole course, people know how to do everything themselves. So they don't need me. They don't need anybody. You're talking about your gig where you were playing bass, but guess what? They embezzled the money. And now you're like, now what do I do? I don't know the business aspect of this. That's why it's so important that people know, hey, if, they're laid off somewhere, they need to be able to jump right back into it. And that's what the beauty of, knowing how to book gigs, the process, how to find these venues, how to put together your show is so important, because now you're going to have freedom. I mean, you said you were laid off. I think you even told me, I think your girlfriend like broke your guitar or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. My girlfriend broke my guitar. We officially broke up because we got into a fight, and she got so upset. Boy, she could just strangle me, which she did, and then broke the guitar. And I just had to get the hell out of Dodge. So yeah. I had to leave New York at about 1 a.m. on a last-minute flight, which.
Oh goodness. Gosh.
Yeah, it's been a crazy.
And how does it feel right now? I mean, to know that in 1 month, you're probably going to be completely booked up. I mean, how are you feeling right now that you've been able to do this a month ago? You weren't.
So, I was talking with my mom about this the other day when the residency lined up and then the secondary potential residency lined up. It was all of a sudden this became a reality, and I could, not have to do the bartender bar search or job hunt anymore. And I could just put all focus on this. I was like, oh, I made it. We did it. Here it is. I made it. I'm a rock star now. This is how it works, right? And it really does feel like that. I mean, it sounds funny because I'm going out and playing lounges and bars, not arenas and stadiums, but I'm able to potentially make a living doing the only thing I love on earth. And honestly, now the only thing I'm qualified for. So
well, and that's a big thing too, is, a lot of people think that you have to be on big stages. And what they usually don't know is to get on those big stages, a lot of those people are actually paying to be on those stages, and that you can make a living. I always tell everyone $50,000 to $100,000 is not difficult to make. Playing at restaurants, lounges, casinos, small venues, those are the ones that are going to pay you. Whereas those big arenas a lot of times don't. Now, I want to get into, when we started working, I have a whole system where I show people, exactly the whole process from step one, even somebody that's a complete beginner, to the very end on how to book gigs. Was it difficult to go through that? Was it pretty simple? Did I make it pretty easy for you to like get the whole system down?
I think the beauty of your system was that, and I don't mean this offensively, but it was so dummy proof. It's like, it's just it's step by step perfectly to a T, which is why I said earlier, if you follow your recipe, your system, this series of steps perfectly to a T, and you do everything exactly like how you explained to do it, it's fail proof. And it's the funniest thing sitting there because I've been doing music for so long and sitting there going through everything and taking it step by step. I was almost a little flabbergasted with myself, like, oh my gosh, it's this simple. It's really this simple. How did I not figure this out? But that was, once again, kind of what we talked about. I got your years of experience doing this, and I was in a different situation, and now it just expedited the whole process. And something that, yeah, maybe 10 to 15 years I could have figured out for myself from now. Maybe, I don't know, you still were just beautifully put together the way you did the whole thing. And now I got it now. And we're here now, making it happen now. And it's in such rapid time.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. Cause yeah, it's, I mentioned my story where I spent 8 years, almost a decade trying to figure it out. And then, yeah, a lot of these concepts, when I tell people, they're like, gosh, why didn't I think about this? How come I didn't? And that's how I felt too. Like, I'm like, how did I spend almost a decade struggling? It's so important to just have a plan. It's really important to have a plan. And then also, I think there's a lot of like misleading information out there on the internet. They're like, you got to have like a zillion followers on Instagram and you got to have this and that. And it's like, none of that's actually true. It's cool to have social media, but you don't actually even need it at all to book gigs. And I think that's the beauty of really simplifying everything. Like, here's the fastest way. Here's how you could do it in 7 days. And you've been amazing because you've been so ambitious about it. And so, people get results based on what you put out there. You went out there and you busted your butt and you got your first residency right away. You got your first gigs booked, like you said, there's a system within 7 days. And that's like, I applaud you because the universe responds when you give out. If you're not giving out anything and you're like waiting around, nothing happens. And so you have to be proactive in action. That's like the big word. You have to take action, and you did. So that's all you. So you've been a pleasure to work with. So.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And that is something that I would have to say about your system specifically is, once again, give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man to fish, he can eat for life. But at the end of the day, it boils down to what that person is willing to do and how quickly they're willing to do it. You're not the booking agent. You're not telling anybody exactly how to do anything. You're saying, once you're in it, when you could put in this work, I'll give you all the steps to make that hard work pay off. And for me, I've been really lucky. I had great parents. They taught me a great work ethic. They taught me how to get things done. And I've been applying that to music for many years now. And, it just kind of became the work smart and not hard. Enough for everything you've done on that.
Well, absolutely. It's been a pleasure, like I said, and I'm excited to see all your results. And we're going to keep following you because this is just the beginning. Yeah, there's going to be so much more. So awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you shared your story. Everyone that's watching, I just want you to check the description if you would like to get some results like Troy. Again, he's really busted his butt. I gave him the formula. I gave him the recipe. And if you're willing to, do the work and just like a recipe, like if you're baking a cake, you can't have all the ingredients, but not be willing to put it in the bowl and mix it up and bake it. I'm giving you all the ingredients and all the recipe. And if you go out and do the work, you could have results like him. He is a testament to that. So I'm so excited for you. Check the description, everybody that is watching, if you would like to learn how. You can also discover how to book gigs, how to make, your performing, your living. You can travel the world. You can book locally. We got some stuff coming up, for you. I know that we're gonna be working on worldwide here. So I'm excited to check back with you and we get that going. Everybody check out the description. Thank you so much, Troy.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. I'm Kristine Mirelle. Bye, Troy.